Hi, welcome to InSight. I'm Wendy Brokaw.
And I'm Ross Sutherland.
And we're going to talk about problem gambling because no one wants to talk about it. And that's why it's one of the big problems that it is, and it's a growing problem. But how do you self-identify? How do you know if you have a problem or someone you love or care about has a problem? John Ackley's here. He is with Bridgeway Recovery Services, problem gambling, outpatient counseling.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. Quickly, tell us, how big a problem is it?
Well, currently they estimate that there are about 4 million people in the state of Oregon, and we estimate that there are about 3% of those of the total population who have a problem with gambling. That comes out to about 120,000 people in the state of Oregon.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
When you contrast that with the fact that last year, or in recent years, we struggle to get 1,000 people in the entire state seeking services. That's less than 1% of those 120,000 seeking services each year. It's really an unknown problem when you compare it, comparatively unknown problem when you compare it to the substance abuse awareness that's out there.
Sure.
Sure. In fact, when people think Bridgeway Recovery Services, they think maybe perhaps alcoholism, but you're much more than that. Can you give us a...
Bridgeway has a variety of services. We're just one aspect of what we serve, and that's kind of our idea, is to treat the whole person and as much of what's going on for a person as possible. Obviously, we have the substance abuse addiction, but we have mental health, we have adolescent, we have the gambling, we even have a small physical health, a primary care facility built in this, so that when people come to see us, it's not uncommon. They come in for one particular thing, but then branch out as they realize, because these issues don't attack just one part of a person.
Right.
You know, if I have a gambling problem, chances are I have mental health issues possibly alongside that. I may have physical health issues because I've been neglecting my physical health, etc. So it's referred to as wraparound services, and we provide as many of those as possible.
So what are some of the key indicators of someone that has gambling issues?
There's a few key indicators. Two of the big ones that we actually use to help in a brief kind of screening tool that we use. We call it the lie bet test. One, have I ever bet more money, kept betting more and more money, more than I had planned on? Say I went in planning to only bet $20, but I find myself going back for more money and going back for more money. I can't just say no and stop. That's one indicator. And the other one is, have I lied to people about my gambling? Really, for any reason. That's an indication that it's moved out of the fun factor. If you can look your friends in the face and say, yeah, I lost 20 bucks, there's no lying involved because there's not a huge amount of investment. But as soon as we have this investment within ourselves that we feel the need to lie about it, that's an indication that it's taken on more importance and an unhealthy balance or an unhealthy importance within us.
How do people get to that kind of position? Does it sneak up on them?
Very much so. Very, very much so. It sneaks up just like any other addiction. If you think of alcohol and it starts out, I'm having beers with buddies, but then I really like spending time with my buddies, so I have beer more times a week with buddies. It's the same thing. I'm doing this for entertainment purposes. And then it eventually crosses a threshold. And it's pretty complex about what that threshold is in the mind that's happening, but it's basically that it stops being about the fun. And it's fulfilling a need within our brain that actually in some ways transcends money even, though not everybody's aware of that.
Yeah, explain that. It transcends money?
It becomes about the win, not about the money. It becomes about the fantasy of the win, and if it becomes about the win and not the money, this is where people get in trouble, because I may win, and I talk about this with my clients, and they tell me quite often they'll be up an incredible amount of money. They may have gone in there with a small amount of money and gotten it up to this large amount of money on the machine, but because they want to keep winning, that's not enough. Even though they've doubled, tripled, quadrupled their money or more, it's not enough because they're attracted to the win and not the actual amount of the money. And this is one of the true indicators of when this has become a problem. I have clients who tell me they've been up $500, $600, $700 and thrown it all right back in the machine trying to win more.
And is there something that comes with winning? I mean, obviously there's that good feeling of winning, but that you can sort of, gives you bragging rights and other people notice you and those kinds of things?
So they've done brain scans of people who have been gambling. Of course, they've done plenty of brain scans of people who've been under this influence of drugs. If you compare brain scans of somebody who's currently under the influence of cocaine and somebody who's winning at gambling, they're exactly identical.
Yeah.
Okay? Not just the areas of the brain that light up, but the intensity with which they're lighting up.
Okay.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
But here's the issue, and one of the things that separates and makes gambling a little different with cocaine or alcohol, meth, whatever substance you're choosing, I have had to put something within myself to alter my brain state. With gambling, I didn't put anything in my system. Think how powerful that is for just a moment. I didn't have to put anything in my system, but I was able, through merely the power of my fantasy of the win, I was able to change my brain state equivalent to being on cocaine by the power of my mind.
Wow.
It's a very powerful, very addictive, very alluring fantasy.
And it's not illegal, so you're not doing
No,
anything where you
it's
say,
quite
oh,
the opposite of illegal.
yes.
Folks around here.
Quickly, if somebody says, bingo, that's me, or somebody I know, how do they get in touch with you and access your services?
So there's a couple of ways. You can contact Bridgeway directly, bridgewayrecovery.com, or our telephone number, obviously. But there's also a state clearinghouse line for people who are seeking help. That's the route we get many of our people calling in, asking for help, calling the state number. That number is on every lottery machine in the state. It's mandated to be there, so it's easily accessible. When people feel they've reached this point where they require assistance, it's there, and they've often, to get there, they've seen that number quite a bit. And so consequently, if they call that number, they're in Marion County in the Salem area, they'll route them through to us.
A quick question about somebody who cares deeply about somebody who doesn't see, who's in kind of denial about the problem. Advice for that person?
Oregon, fortunately or unfortunately, Oregon is one of the best states to be what we refer to as the significant other of a gambler. And in Oregon, it doesn't have to be a spouse. It could be, if you were my friend and you were concerned about my gambling, you're eligible for treatment. And in the state of Oregon, a significant other of a gambler is eligible for exactly as much treatment at the same price, because all gambling treatment in the state of Oregon is paid for. It's free. It comes 1% of all gambling proceeds are set aside for treatment and prevention. So consequently, I've had clients on my caseload for years now, and they've never had to pay a dime for their treatment of services.
And it really works?
Yes, I have clients on my caseload right now who have years of recovery.
Wow.
Wow. We're just going to have you back sometime.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for joining us on InSight today. I'm Wendy Brokaw.
And I'm Ross Sutherland.
We'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm Julio,
And I'm John.
and we're from Bridgeway Recovery Services.
There are an estimated 120,000 people in Oregon affected by problem gambling. These people are our friends, family members, and coworkers.
Problem gambling is often difficult to detect, but here are some common signs. Gambling to escape boredom or uncomfortable feelings, few or no hobbies other than gambling,
Lost time and money because of gambling, prioritizing gambling over friends, family, and work, and irritability when asked about gambling.
recovery from problem gambling is possible, and Bridgeway Recovery Services can help. Treatment is free, confidential, and effective.
If you would like more information about problem gambling treatment and recovery resources, please contact John or Julio at Bridgeway, 503-399-0670. Again, that's 503-399-0670.
When you're ready, we'll be here.